Hey, how's it going? This is Jonathan, and this will be the first part of the fishing series that I plan on doing, at least through the spring, into summer, and then it starts getting too hot here to do it much longer. But yeah, it's going to be called the Bank Fisherman, and I've got a couple of notes here to just kind of stay on track. But this is just going to be a general intro as to what I'm going to do, what I hope to do with it, and what I hope to share with you and for you to take away from it. Um, so I've been a fisherman since I can remember. My grandpa instilled in me as a very young age to be outdoors and have a lot of fun, but his passion was fishing. So ever since I can remember, I've been, a fisherman with him, so I guess since I was old enough to cast a rod and to go out there. And he never had enough money to have a big fancy boat and to go out to the lake and do all that stuff. So he spent a lot of time fishing on the bank. And a lot of the skills and the techniques that I use reflect that. And I've learned there's nothing wrong with fishing on the bank. I mean, you can have just as much success and have just as much fun doing it on the bank as what you would if you had a big fancy boat and a private lake and all that stuff. So the main premise of this video is going to be focused on the average common man and how he would fish. Now, I'll go over the basic techniques and, what we're all familiar with that we've done as kids is having a bobber and just sitting there and watching it. But I'm also going to kind of take you along as to what I do and what I enjoy. And it's more of a faster paced, moving, more of the sports kind of style fishing. So there's going to be a good mix, and my goal is to incorporate both. The big argument you see between fishermen is fishing to keep meat and stock your freezer and sitting out there all day because you're going to bring home meat, and then the other side that you see on TV and the professional and tournaments and all that, and fishing for sport and for fun. And I'm somewhere in the middle. I really enjoy eating fish, and I love catching them, and I'm gonna really plan on showing those techniques and how to be successful in that. But I also really love catching fish for fun and kind of seeking them out and hunting them down and doing that. So I hope that kind of wears off in the video, that it wears off on you to kind of find the balance in between. But my main objective with this is to be able to pass on the knowledge and the years of experience that I have fishing to beginners and then even the experienced people. I know there's people that are way more qualified to do this than I am. There's people that have been fishing way longer than I have. Tournament fishermen, they use electronics. They do all this stuff that on paper and out in the field they could fish me under a bus. But I want to kind of just show you an approach that I've learned that I think is unique, and I hope that's evident in the video, and ultimately just to have fun. That's why I fish, is because it's fun, whether I'm eating it or catching it and throwing it back. I want to get feedback from you as a viewer also. I want to see what you're taking away from it. I plan on doing a couple of Q&As and maybe answering some questions that get sent in, and then also maybe doing a giveaway or two, and just putting people's names in a random name generator and giving them, something cool that I haven't used. I've got just a lot of stuff over the years that I've collected. I'm planning on doing, for sure, one episode a week, maybe two, and like I said, it'll go till the summer, till it gets so hot that the fish, get in deep water and they get a little bit harder to catch. But a lot of this is dependent on the weather too. So I'm not extreme enough to go out and fish when it's raining, and I'm for sure not going to take all my stuff out there. And I make these videos on my cell phone, so I'm not going to take that out there either. But I for sure will do one or two videos a week. And the things that it's going to cover is everything from the basics of your fishing gear, the different types of options you have if you've never fished a day in your life, what you can expect from this brand or that brand, your price points, all this stuff, the basics. I've never done it. Help me out. and the suggestions that you would want, to even more advanced techniques like reading fish movement, different times of the day, and the weather's huge. Weather and temperature is huge with fish movement, and I'm gonna give some tips on how I've learned that. Reading underwater structure, just like us in our homes and the things that we collect and enjoy to do inside our homes, fish have homes too that they gather around, and that yes, they're out eating food, but fish gather around structure, and so there's different cues and things that you can do to learn how to read that. And then lure techniques, different types of lures, and how you use this one or that one. That's more tailored towards the sports side of it, because you're going to be fishing for largemouth, and I'm a huge largemouth bass fisherman, so I'm going to try to do my best to balance the both. But I'm sorry if you're not a largemouth bass fisherman, and I'm really biased towards it, so there's going to be a lot of that in there too. But yeah, this is just the intro to it. It'll be a little bit before there's actually going to be any action videos of me fishing. We've got another cold spurt, at least for another week, if not longer, here in Texas, and I don't push my luck and get out there too early, because you're just going to be disappointed. So waiting for the water temperature to get a little bit better, and to get a little bit warmer here. And so this is a time now to get prepared for that, to get all your stuff ready, and that's what these first couple of videos are going to be, is preparing your gear for the fishing season, and how I do that. So give me a second and I'll get some stuff set up here. Alright, so I'm going to discuss your most important piece of gear when it comes to fishing, your rod and reel. If you don't have a rod and reel, you're not going to catch any fish. So now the main thing to know about this is what I have is not what you have to have. I have caught many a fish on Walmart $30 rod and reels. So this is just what I have saved up for, and because this is more of a passion and a hobby and something fun, I've spent money on this. Just like anything, when you really start liking it, you're okay with spending the money on it. So you don't have to have exactly what I have. And I also want to say, this is all just my opinion. I'm not a professional. I'm not a guide, and by any means am I more qualified to do this than anybody else. But this is just what I prefer and what works for me. So I know there's going to be guys that are experienced fishermen that talk about my rod choice and reel combination and the weight of my line, all that stuff. And I'm not a tournament fisherman. This is just based on what I use. So all that stuff out of the way, let's talk about your rod and reel. So when it comes time to, if you're brand new to fishing, when it comes time to getting a rod and reel, like I said, there's great options that are very affordable. Me personally, I've saved up for this, and so this is what I enjoy and this is what I'm using, but it doesn't mean you've got to use it too. So if all you can afford is a $20, $30 rod and reel combo from Walmart or wherever, go get it. That's going to catch you fish. And there's also certain things that you can do to that $30 or $40 rod and reel combo that'll make it a better piece of fishing equipment. And that's stuff that I'm going to go over later in the series, and just kind of upgrading your gear. But this is my #1 go-to favorite rod and reel combo. Fishing from a bank, I've learned that a spinning combo reel, an open face with the bail spinning combo reel, is what I prefer. Now, I know plenty of guys that use bait casters, and they catch just as many, if not more, fish than me. But with the technique and the skills that I have and the way that I fish, I can do everything that I need to at a fine level with an open face spinning reel. And I'll also tell you too, as an open face spinning reel fisherman, just because you decide to use this doesn't mean that you're not as good as the guy who uses the open face, bait caster. Those, to me, those are just a pain in the butt. They tangle, and anyways. So this is my number one go-to rod and reel combo. I am a huge fan of the rod company called St. Croix. I've had one before this, and their warranty program's excellent. That rod actually broke after having it for about 3 years, and I got this one for free. And this is actually more expensive than the one I originally paid for. They weren't making it anymore. So this is my main go-to. I prefer rods that are at least 7 foot long. I don't like shorter rods because of what I use, to fish, and you'll understand that hopefully as the series goes on. This is St. Croix's Mojo Bass Rod. Now technically, for tournament fishermen and professionals, this is a tube and grub rod. That's a certain type of lure. I use this as my main worm rod, plastic worm fishing, and any underwater stuff. It's very sensitive. I can feel every little thing that my lure's hitting and touching along the bottom of the water. So I really like that. And then this is one of my oldest pieces of gear, and it's a Fluger presidential open face spinning reel. And there's a lot of fancy stuff that I can go over with you if you want to talk about it later, but basically just know that it's it is something you've got to buy on its own. I believe I actually saw one of the big box retailers carrying Fluger now. But either way, this rod and reel has served me very well. So this is my lighter weight rod, and it's the one that I use predominantly for basically everything but topwater, or my really heavy lures and baits. And then my second rod and reel combo that I use is this one. Now this is my big Mac Daddy rod and reel. This is a really stiff, heavy rod that I use to really horse fish out of thick, nasty stuff. I mainly use this for my topwater frog. I really love using floating topwater frogs, and this is mainly what I use. And what this is it's the brand Abu Garcia, and this is their Vendetta rod. It's also a 7-footer, but it's a medium heavy, so it's got a little bit thicker of a backbone, and the tip of the rod isn't quite as sensitive as the other one. So, and that's not as important to have if you're going to be doing, something that requires a heavier rod. And then my reel is by the company Quantum, and this is their Smoke series. It's a little bit bigger, beefier of a reel. It's got, I believe, 2 more bearings in it than the other one. And again, that's just stuff that you'll learn as you keep going, fishing and stuff. But this is my other rod and reel that I really like to use. Now, I carry both of those when I go fishing. I carry 2 rod and reels because it makes it easier. Instead of having to constantly cut my line and switch baits to do this or that, you can use one rod and reel and find the happy medium to be able to do it all. I did that for a while, but I saved up and got my second one, and it's not hard to carry both. I just carry one in each hand, and the way I have my tackle and my all that stuff set up, I use a backpack. So I'll go over that in the next video. But what I need to do tonight or today is I haven't changed the line on my rod and reels in over a year, and I normally do it every 2 years, but you're supposed to do it every year. So that was something I was going to go over with you real quick. You can be really overwhelmed really fast walking into a store and seeing 100 different types of line and what do I use, and the guys at Bass Pro always have their opinions on what they fish with. Well, it may not work for you, so I'll give you an unbiased approach to different line, and you can kind of decide what you want to do with it. So give me a second and I'll get that started. Alright guys, so I want to go ahead and finish this video up, and we'll continue this discussion on part 2. We'll get into the different types of line, what you can expect from each one, and then I'll actually show you how I spool brand new fishing line onto my rod and reel to get ready to catch some fish whenever the season rolls around. So until then, thanks for watching. I have a lot of expectations and high hopes for this series. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I really hope I can share some stuff that I've learned with all of you. So thank you for watching, and have a good one.